Paul, what do you see as the major issues for the city of Pine City in the coming 2 to 4 years, and what are your strategies for addressing those?
I think myself that one of the most strategic things is cash flow. We're running on a real tight budget. We don't have an excessive amount of money in our budget, and I'm usually not too long-winded, so I would just say that we're going to be watching monies very closely. Thank you.
And Brian, you're next. Can we repeat the question?
No,
Okay.
that's fine. I guess as a city, we've done a number of projects recently that I think have really made some improvements to the city. The fire hall, the library, water treatment plant, new water tower. We've done a bunch of those things in the last few years because they were really badly needed, and because we hadn't done projects of that sort for 40 or 50 years. So it's really great to have those projects in place, but of course the drawback to that is that now we're going to have to pay for them. And at the same time that we have a bunch of those projects coming up, we also have a situation where the state is cutting back, or has cut back on our aid, and likely will cut back some more, and where it's just not a good climate for increasing taxes. At the same time, we also have a situation coming this year where, due to voted in referendum for the fire hall, our taxes are going to go up a fair amount. And I mean, that was on the ballot that everybody voted for. It said your taxes will increase, but unfortunately that vote was a year ago, and now in the next year, sometime next spring, after the project's all done, then the taxes are going to come due for the first time. And I think it may be a bit of a shock to people that don't remember that they voted to raise their taxes, but they did. So really, one of our goals as a council has to be to cushion that tax increase as much as possible by keeping anything that is an optional item down as much as possible, and we're working hard to do that all the time, and I think we'll be able to do that. We've got the staff in place, I think, to guide us through that and work to keep our taxes down as much as possible with those projects in mind.
Thank you, Brian. Linda, would you like me to repeat the question? Or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What do you see as the major issues for the city of Pine City in the coming 2 to 4 years, and what are your strategies for addressing those?
One of the major problems Pine City has is jobs. We don't have enough of them here. We don't have enough industry to create jobs. And what Pine City does need to do is bring in business. Businesses pay taxes, citizens pay taxes, and the more industry we have here, the jobs will be being paid, paying the residents, and the residents will be spending money. How we can do that, there is the Positive Minnesota Action, there's JobZs, there's all kinds of things out there that we can do to bring money into the city. We just have to do it.
Thank you. Steve?
Yes, I think number one concern is the budget issues for the city. It's been a contentious issue for many years. I think our local aid from the state to our government is an issue. It's been up and down for 2 to 3 years. It used to be a reliable source that the city could count on. Right now, I would, the city council needs to lobby our local legislatures to come up with a reliable formula for the state aid to address our budgets. If it has to come down to a point where there is no state aid, well then the city obviously needs to work with that. But it'd be nice to have that known factor from our state legislatures. Also, I don't see that there is a big budget for any tax increases within our city. Like I say, we've got some wonderful infrastructure that has been built in the last few years, and like I said, now it's time to pay for that. But there's also some aging infrastructure in the city. I know I walk around and I have a bike rider and I see WPA 1938 stamped on some of our street corners and sidewalks. And I know if you talk to our city crew, they're very concerned about our water and sewer system. It's aging. Sooner or later that bill will come due. I would like to see us have some type of a long-term plan to look at those issues. Take an inventory of what we have, where it's, the conditions that it's in. Obviously, yes, that has to be paid for. But that bill will come due sooner or later. And I think if we have a long-term, 5-10-year program for replacing some of these things, it would be to our advantage. We're also looking at the expansion of the liquor store. You know, I've read Laura's report. It was a very good report that she gave to the city council. It's one of these things that needs a lot of discussion within the council. You've got an aging structure next door. Do you buy that and expand it? I think everybody's looked at the travel stop liquor that obviously did not work, and we need to take a close look at expansion. If the business model says it's reasonable for the city to do, if we can make that a revenue neutral project with the apartments upstairs, you know, I think we should consider it. Thank you.
Thank you. Robin, would you like me to have the question again, or?
No,
Okay.
I understand the question, thanks. Major issues for the city of Pine City in the coming 2 to 4 years. My list is a lot longer and varied. But for the most part, I'm a very frugal person, and I like to get the most bang out of the buck. And I do believe we should reduce our dependence on LG. I know Don Howard at one point had said he had reduced it to the point to where when it came, it was like extra money, and that was a wonderful position to be able to be in. I know we have a lot of empty houses. We need to attract people to come to town, and that would help our downtown businesses as well. So what is bringing people here, and how can we maximize that? How can we keep drawing people here? Our downtown needs to be revitalized, and that'll be covered more in the second question. But I participated on the comprehensive plan. I was over at Parks and Rec, and for the most part, it was in place for a long time, and the Parks and Rec plan wasn't followed. And I would like to see that this next one that's been done up does get followed better, because the right cross-section of the community participate on it, and we should follow it. They discussed what was needed and wanted. We have to pay off our debts as quickly and intelligently as possible. If we can refinance or get those payments down or save us money on that, that would be awesome. People did vote for tax increases, but it'd be nice to not have to take all that money that we thought we might. We have invested in parks for citizen benefit, and I believe we need to get the most benefit out of it. I absolutely would approve a reservation rental system so that if my son got married and wanted to have a wedding reception at Voyager Park, I wouldn't have 50 people doing a disc golf tournament in the meantime, and that could be a source of revenue for the city as well. Parks and Rec, I know this is a time when everybody wants to cut. And I certainly wouldn't expand taxes, but we have to remember that we live in a city and we want to love being here, and Parks and Rec is a very important part of that. The city softball fields, we need more. That draws people into town. The disc golf course was a great success, but it needs its own spot. So Voyager Park can function how it was. We have soccer fields where 300 children every spring play, and there's not enough parking, and it's not necessarily safe, and it can be sold any minute in that industrial park. And that's been there for 10 years, and it's very important. The rest of us, we need to make sure we don't waste money. As in the situation we came up with our city administrator, I felt it was short-sighted to have to pay an interim one and then to attract a new one. And in the meantime, be paying severance when we could have not had to do that. And the expansion of liquor stores should be discussed as a business decision, not as a personal decision whether I like it or not. We also need to run it as a business. And then we also need to support businesses in town. What can we do to help them set up their businesses and be successful and not make it hard for them? Too many hurdles to jump through to be able to exist in our town.